All right, so there we go. Hello everyone, how's it going? Team here, and this is BxJS dev stream. And today we're finally having a look at Hasura. I don't know, is it Hasura or Hasura? I'm not exactly sure where you stressed that, but there's been quite a few of you guys who were like, you have to check it out, you have to look into it, it looks really cool. And I don't think that's the first time I've heard about it. Basically, it's been around for quite some time, and I've heard some really good things about it. So we are going to jump in and see what this is all about and see how good it is. So Hasura is this basically tool that allows you to create GraphQL API instantly on top of the Postgres, and then easily do whatever the hell you want with it, essentially providing you the full-on backend. So in this manner, it's sort of similar to Strapi that we had a look quite some time ago. So without further ado, let's just get cracking and see how that works and what exactly we can build with it. The cool thing is that it also supports starting with the existing database. Obviously, you need to have a Postgres, so it only works with the Postgres as far as I understand. But we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to start using Docker as usual. I think I have my Docker, yes, clean, so we're good. Okay, meanwhile, I have created the folder here, so I'm just going to run npm init -y, and we are going to add some Docker commands here. So we're going to say Postgres start, and I'm going to start Postgres essentially using Docker so that we have nice instance running there in the background. I wonder if they provide that maybe here. So they give you Docker Compose. Why not? Let's do that. Let's just grab their Docker Compose and use it as is. So let's see. So the Compose they give contains, we got the Postgres with the version 12 here. And we got the GraphQL engine. So they give it by default, essentially. Hey, Marina, welcome to the stream. All right, so... Okay, so this basically gives us all we want. So maybe we just use Docker Compose. That seems like good enough because, like, yeah, I guess we will be using Hasura as a part of Docker as well, right? So maybe this is good enough for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and run Docker Compose up -d. Let's just start it. It's probably going to pull both because I don't think I've used Postgres or Hasura lately. There we go. Okay. So theoretically, we should have two containers here. Yes, we are. Both seem to be running. So we should have Hasura on ports 8080. Yep, that looks good. So we got telemetry. Yeah, sure, why not? And newer server version beta. I do not... Yes, opt out of pre-release. We do not want... I don't want to have any pre-release versions, at least for the stream, because that sounds a tiny bit dangerous. So we're going to go with the default stuff. Right, so we got Fancy Console. We got the GraphQL Explorer. That looks pretty nice. We got the Data Explorer that I assume this is just your typical interface for the Postgres, which is also nice to have. We have actions. This was one of the cool features that I saw in the documentation while browsing it. So basically it allows you to set up the custom logic, custom triggers, depending on what happens within Hasura, be it the GraphQL queries or data changes or anything else really, which actually looks really powerful. You can also integrate remote schemas into it. We should probably try that and do some fancy... we'll see. I still have no idea what we're going to build with it, but we're going to figure it out as we go. Okay, and then we got event triggers that, again, more or less work the same way. So you can basically do something with trigger something, be it functions or APIs, or throw stuff into queue if you want to. But okay, that seems fine. So we don't need the Docker Hub. Make your first GraphQL query. Yeah, sure. Let's make our first GraphQL query. Okay, data create table. So you can actually create your schema from here, and let's try to figure out where we're going to build. So let's, okay, first of all, okay, for now, let's not focus on the UI. Let's focus on the data structure and what we actually want to build. Let's go with the same thing as we did before. So let's say we have users, right? So let's call it a user table. And then we're going to have frequently used columns. ID, yes, we're gonna have ID. We're gonna have create. Okay, I don't care about created, updated. We're gonna have email. That is gonna be text. Maybe text is too much. Maybe just what do you call it? Maybe text is fine. There should be a. What was the type for the strings in Postgres? I mean, I guess text is fine, right? And then we're gonna have passwords, which is gonna be hashed, and I'm just gonna throw it into text as well, because why not? So the email is gonna be unique, the ID is gonna be unique, and I think that's it, right? So that should be good. Primary key is ID. We don't need anything else. So you can set up foreign keys here. And you can even set up constraints here. Okay, interesting. So to say that email, and we want no more. So what are the constraint stocks? Oh, it's literally the Postgres constraints. Okay, I see. So you can, okay, we don't want that now. But it's kind of cool that you can do that right away from the UI. Okay, in this case, they say create a profile table and then run a query. Okay, add table. So this should create a profile table with users. And I assume we can, yeah, modify relationships, permissions. Okay, so there's even permission management here. That's kind of cool. So schema. And we got public. Okay, interesting. Well, okay, so theoretically we should now be able to run the user query, right? And say, okay, give me all users with email, ID, and password. I wonder if you can actually easily create authentication here, because I'm not so sure now, but we're gonna try anyway. So since, you know, setup of the Hasura was relatively easy, then I'm gonna go ahead and we don't need that anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the next.js app over here, and we're gonna go with next.js. And I'm gonna do it manually because I am lazy. Yarn adds, I probably shouldn't have copied installs. We're gonna go with that. And this time around, I remember about Next.js API endpoints, so we're gonna use them instead of creating a whole new server, because, you know, in this case, I think it should be fine. We're gonna see where that takes us. Again, I'm curious if you can do authentication and role management in Hasura, but we're gonna figure it out. Okay, so we got that. We create the pages index. Let me see, new file, pages index. Don't show this again. I don't care about this for now. No, don't create any files. I don't need that. Okay, and then I'm gonna copy the home page, and theoretically that should be good enough for us. Okay, let's see. Yarn develop. That should. What was it? Yarn dev. I always. The difference in naming of some things is extremely confusing, especially when you work on multiple projects that follow different approaches, basically. Okay, so we got our thingy. Now, here is our thing. Oh, yeah, they even have authorization authentication chapter in the docs, which is great. So let's have a look at this. Authentication is handled outside Hasura. Hasura delegates authentication and resolution of the request headers into session variables to your authentication service. Okay, so basically something has to authenticate outside of Hasura and then set the X Hasura role, which is then executed within Hasura. And then basically based on this role, the Hasura will decide access control and stuff like this. Okay, see more detail. Yeah, let's see more details. So what can we do here? Webhook. JSON web token. That actually seems like a nice option. Your host servers issues JVT to your client, which when sent as a part of request are verified and decoded by GraphQL engine to get the meta. That seems like a nice way. Okay, so let's go with JVT. Introduction, blah, 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 prerequisites. JVT enforced when admin secret header is not found, is skipped. Okay, so if I give it Hasura admin secret, which I imagine is pre-configured, then it won't verify anything and will just assume that you're an admin and you can do whatever the hell you want, which I guess is a nice thing. Probably can be disabled, or maybe you can just set the token to something maybe false or whatever to disable that, because it sounds like you don't really want to have that on production environment. JVT must contain X Hasura default role, X Hasura allowed roles, and then, okay. All right, so example JVT claim. All right, so basically this is the structure of the claim that we want to have. Now let's go ahead and create our API routes. There we go. So we can pages API, right? So we need to create API folder over here, and let's create an API called login, right? And it's going to be like this. And then here we need to return that JSON web token, right? So in this case, I am not going to build the whole authentication service. So it's apparent that it has to be basically separate from Hasura, or you have to guess proxy Hasura. Yeah, so I guess if you put your server in front of Hasura and then resolve everything through your server, then you can dynamically append this. But that sounds like a pain. Okay, anyway, it seems like it's easier to make a separate authentication service. So in this case, we're going to have a users array that has email, say test@test.com, and then password is going to be 103. I'm very unique with that. Okay, and then we got application JSON stringify. Let's rewrite this into response, and then I'm gonna say that const response is our. Okay, so this is our name. Okay, so basically this should be. This is basically our user info, it seems, right? So we, I guess we want to have maybe maybe not. Maybe this is fine. So we go users from. I guess user is what we want to do, right? And here, I think we should be able to get the email and password from body, if I remember correctly. I don't know if does it parse them by default. Where's our next.js docs? Request method post, middlewares response helper. So I think they had the helpers, right? So why are we writing this as a caveman? Let's just write it properly. There we go. Can just do that, right? And then we can just say actually token. This is what we want to send. Okay, response object, and then we need to generate token from it. Const token somehow. So I'm just gonna assign response object for now. And now, how do I get the request? API middlewares. Request body is okay, so it does parse the body, which means we should be able to do that. So const user is going to be users find, so that u is u email equals email and u password equals I deconstructed body from body. That sounds like a good idea. All right, so try to find user, right? Obviously, in like a real world case, this would be some sort of a database or service that would take this role. If no user is found, we're gonna send 401, right? And send error, wrong user or passwords, and return. Right, so we did that. Now we need to encode that JSON web token. I assume they give you... No, they don't actually give you an example here. So let's go to Jvt.io and grab some Jvt library. I think Node.js had a... Where was it? .NET, Python, Node.js. There was... Was it this one? JSON web token. Yeah, I think this was the one. Okay, so we're going to grab JSON web token. Add it to project, yarn add JSON web token. Okay, and then we are gonna... So how do you set... Here's the question, like you have to have the same private key, right? Spec. Okay, this is the shape of it. We set it as an authorization bearer. And you can override the role if you want to. Interesting. Configuring Jvt Mode. To enable Jvt Mode by using the Jvt secret flag or Hasura GraphQL. Okay, so we have to put this environmental variable over here, right? And say that test Jvt secret. It's going to be very, very secure. Okay, so admin secret is disabled by default, which I assume is the same. So basically it disables the access to that by default, which is great. Okay. Now that means we can do docker compose rm. Nope, what was it? Stop. And then there was a command. I keep forgetting there's one command that allows you to stop and remove them immediately, but I don't remember what it was. Every time. No, wait a second. Up minus D. Right, okay. I'm sorry, what? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna kill all. Remove. Docker compose up minus D. There you go. Please restart both. There we go. Okay, great. I probably could have just restarted the GraphQL engine, but whatever. So this is our secret. We are gonna have, I guess I'll just store it here. Jvt secret. Very secure, again. Don't use that in production. Next thing we need to is encrypt our JSON web token, right? So this is exactly what we want to do. There's our JVT, import that. That is probably not what we want. Okay. And there's our token encryption. So we're going to say encrypt token, and here will be our response object, and here will be our, what did I call it? JVT secret. Right, so this should produce a token, and then we send this token back in a response, which means that now we need to create a login page, right? Hey, my love, welcome to the stream. XIA1040 says hello. What? Is this a joke about the name of the Elon Musk kid? Because I do not envy the... I mean, I would be very interested to see the passport of this kid, but man, if that's really his name, that's just... Oh my god. Anyway, we are gonna build the login page. A login page. So, again, I input type text. Hey Ruben, welcome to the stream. All right, text password. I think I want to set up. I mean, I feel like we already did something very similar. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy that from. I feel like I need to create some sort of a template for this because we're essentially doing the same thing. Always wondering about the blue lines. Now I get it. They show you typos. Yes, this is the plugin that I have that basically tells you that, hey, you actually have a typo here because I am terrible at typing and I make way too many typos. So I prefer to have some sort of extension that tells me that, hey, maybe you should, you know, fix your word typing because it's totally wrong. Okay, you know what? I don't really want to set up the whole tailwind. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to import it into the app as the script tag. Sorry, the style tag, right? Because in this case, it's probably sufficient. So in this case, and I guess I can add it, yarn add tailwind CSS. And we're going to import tailwind CSS slash dist. No, come on, there should be something. I know that it is there. Tailwind CSS, dist, tailwind min. There we go. This is what I want. I'm just gonna import the whole tailwind and be done with that basically. Class name flex, and this is gonna be class name, say padding 2, border 1. I guess, but I mean, we already did the input for the login form somewhere, so I can just copy it from here, right? Because I'm a very lazy person. There we go. Just grab that. Throw it in here. Cool, right. We also need the logic, but conveniently enough, we can just copy the whole damn thing from here. Okay, we do need to rewrite this now because, okay, first of all, don't care about errors right now. Right, so we posted to API login. We post the email and password, perfect. And then we're gonna save our token. It's gonna be, probably should use async await in here because that looks terrible. Hey Bencher, welcome to the stream. All right, so we got results, and this is gonna be a wait fetch, blah blah blah. Then res JSON, so we're gonna keep that, and then. Okay, cool. That looks good enough. And then there's going to be results token. Probably should destruct that. No, I cannot type token. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna push to the home page. All right, so theoretically, that should, I don't actually need these credentials include because we are not doing cross domain requests. Yarn dev. Am I now? Yes, I know that you're not working. So theoretically, use ref is not, oh yeah, I forgot to import stuff. There we go. And use callback as well, right? There we go. What else are you not happy about? Link is not defined. There was the link from React, from next.js, right? Yes, and router as well. Okay, I probably should have copied the imports as well. Hey Adam, yes, I am using VSL2. Set it up by following the official tutorial. It works amazingly well. Okay, so we got this thing. If I do something, this should throw an error, which is perfect. What do you mean? Why is it for? Oh yeah, because I'm not catching error anymore. That is fair enough. Try catch error. Console error. Error logging in. Probably should learn to type. Error. There we go. Okay, so now we should get the error in the console. If we fail to log in, there we go. No, what? That did not. Oh, I guess. Wait a second. Didn't fetch. Doesn't. Oh, man, I keep forgetting that fetch doesn't handle 401 correctly. So I think basically this. So if we go back to home, and if I send a request, the rest is going to be yeah. So the rest is going to be defined as error. So if right, okay. So let us deconstruct token and error. Man, you know what? Sometimes this is really annoying. Like the fact that fetch doesn't correctly throw errors when you got a 404 is just ugh. Okay. You know what? We're like, since we're doing it this way, I can just do that. If there is error, we just log that, return, or there's no token. So basically that should be sufficient, I think. Okay, cool. I refresh that. There we go. So we finally get the error as login, but if we go for test.com 1 to 3, we hit the login. We should be redirected to homepage, which doesn't exist yet, but this is perfectly fine. We also should now have our token in, yeah, probably should name it something different. Let's name it Hasura token. In the local storage, I have too much crap over here. Okay. So let's log in again, test.com 1 to 3. So now we have this Hasura token, which means we should be able to use it to query our Hasura backend. But then again, we right now we have created this user thing that is totally public. So can I fail to fetch? Okay, wait a second. Reload this. What did I? Wait a second. Where's my? Just increase the size of that. No, that seems to be restarting. Oh, did we crash it? Okay, something went wrong. BxJS, Hasura. So let's see, Docker logs. Did I screw up the token thing? Hasura engine 1. Hasura GraphQL error in $string. Environmental variable. Okay. So Docker compose stop. rm. So what did you not like? So where's our Docker compose? You want it to be like escaped or something? Okay, let's try this. So I'm gonna start it in interactive mode just to see. Environment variable error in $. What the hell does this mean? Okay then, let's try to Google that. Not working with rs. $invalid JVK. Oh, is it like too short or something? JVT secrets. Oh, interesting. So they even have a tool for providing. Interesting. See response. What response do you mean? I mean, there's no response. It just literally crashes. Is it more than a string? No, it is definitely a string, but oh, it seems like you have to give it like a JSON string. Okay, where is my... Okay, let's see. So configuring Jvt mode. Maybe I should have read that completely. Oh, okay. So that... Yep, so that should be a full object. Okay, got it. That was my own fault for doing that. Let's create a new window here. Type, optional type of key. So they have an example here somewhere. Type rs jvt.io. Okay, I guess we can just grab an example from here somewhere. Type jvt algorithm coded your secret. So algorithm. Oh, yeah, right. Because you have to configure way more than that, right? Type key. Okay, what is the... Give me an example. I get that there's a lot of parameters, but I don't want to set up the whole thing myself. I just want to see how to do something very simple with a basic string. Okay, URL audience. Receive details, blah, blah, blah. Sure. There we go. There's the very basic example. Yeah, okay. So we were going to specify there we're going to be HS256. Okay, so I guess if we do that and then use our secrets over here. Right, I should have finished reading the docs before trying that. I assume I can also do it. No, probably I should escape it because otherwise the YAML is going to be like, what are you doing? Okay, rem, kill that, docker compose up. Are we good now? Error, key too small. Okay, 30 characters at least. We're nearly there. Okay. With long enough key. Is that 32? Where's my selection indicator? That is 39. Perfect. So, okay, so we have to adjust the key a bit. Probably should have figured that out at first, but okay. Okay. Docker compose up minus D. Logs. Are we good? Yes, we are good. No, what? Hasura exited. What? What do you mean? Jvt secret requires admin secret or access key. Okay, so you have to provide both. Interesting. Admin secret. Call it test admin secret. So you need both for some reason. Rem minus F. What do you mean? PS minus A. Docker. Okay, docker kill all, docker rem exited, docker compose up. Okay, let's go interactive again just to make sure it actually works. GraphQL engine, blah, 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 starting API service. Okay, it seems like this time around it doesn't crash. So let's see the console. Admin secret, aha. So now you can actually use that secret to log in into console. Okay, got it. Right, so now we got this public thing and I assume... Okay, so, okay, let's first try to... I mean, theoretically, we should be able to do the query right away in the home. So if I go the index, I'm going to create the home page. And for now, I'm just going to say that this is... Okay, so we got this thing. We don't need any of that for now. You know what? Home page. Let's try that... GraphQL less GraphQL client. What was it? GQL less? Yes, GQL less is exactly the name. Let's try that because it looks really awesome, but I haven't tried it up till now. So maybe that's a good idea to do that. Oh, no, God damn it, that was the wrong thing. Up minus D, please start back up. There we go. Okay. Yarn adds, probably should have done this. Okay, so we got this GQL less and CodeGen. And we need the... Okay, so we need the key that it uses to generate the queries, I assume. Generate is going to be GQL less generate. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's try that. And then... Okay, import query from GQL less. Okay, yarn generate. So what is this going to do? Probably going to tell me that I'm missing something. Pass it to the command or include in the config file. Okay, so what am I missing? Oh, GQLS config. Okay, got it. Right, URL. Okay, so the URL for our GraphQL endpoint is gonna be, where's my Hasura? We don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. We do not need this anymore. I think, no, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave the JVT because we haven't finished with that. So where is my, I assume this is the, yep, this is the resource, right? So it's gonna be just 8080 GraphQL. Okay. And then if I run generate, output directory is missing. Oh, I need to create it. Of course. GraphQL. Is that what you want? No. GQLS, yeah. So what do you, I created your GQLS config, right? What is happening? Oh, it should be dot. Ugh, I'm an idiot. I should have read again. Okay, that should be probably module exports, right? There we go. Are we good now? No, we're still not good. 404. Okay, so what is the Hasura GraphQL endpoints? Queries. So blah blah blah. GraphQL query API reference. What is the? Come on. Getting started from scratch. Making your first GraphQL query. Yes. So where do you send it if you are sending it? I mean, I probably can do. Wait a second. Where is my Hasura over? No, that's not Hasura. This is no. There it is. Okay. So if I go here, if I just inspect it, I can probably see where it sends the query, right? And it sends it to. Oh, V1 GraphQL. Okay, so I guess you can have different versions. Interesting. I wonder if that's the user feature or if that's the Hasura itself. That is too much. Too much. There we go. Okay, can we get the client generated now? Cannot read schema of undefined. Apparently, we cannot. Maybe it does require authentication. Right, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna fight the GQLS right now because I don't know how the Hasura operates. Instead, we are gonna use remove GQL. What was the name of that? Then I'm just gonna go with some basic client. I don't know, like URQL or something, or maybe Apollo. Okay. Maybe URQL is gonna be easier because it's very tiny. No, URQL. Yes, this is exactly what I want. So let's set up the GraphQL clients. Got that. And basics. Getting started. We did that. Yes, there's the client. So I'm gonna, I guess source folder would do nicely. And probably delete this GraphQL thing from now. Okay. Let's call it client.js. So it's going to be our URQL thing, and it's going to be ATV1. We already know that. Okay, so this is also something we will need because we're going to use that token from the what do you call it? So we're going to use the token from the local storage that we stored there, right? So I'm going to just comment this out for now. And then we are going to provide that client through the app. Thank you for the follow, Annie. We are going to use the provider over here and just wrap our components in it. Because why not? That means we only have to set it up once, right? And then we need to import the client. So this is the home. This is the app. I can close this. Close that client. There we go. So we need export const client and then import it here. Client from, let me think, source client, right? And that should be it. Okay, so now we have the client wired up. We should theoretically be able to run the query. Okay, do that and just copy the whole damn thing for now. And let's see what this does. So we put that on top. We got the use query. So in our case, we got the user, we got the ID and email and password, which theoretically shouldn't actually be included in the schema, but okay. And then we're gonna do this, and then we are gonna do that. And we can kill this to-dos, and then in the result, we're just gonna, you know what, I'm not gonna, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna do pre, and then JSON stringify data. So I'm just gonna stringify the data so that we can see what is going on. And probably also do it like this, data fetching error. And that would, and we don't need re-execute query over here, at least for now. So in theory, if I go to the home and oh, I did not start the server. I think that should basically query the backend now. Come on. Internal server error. Okay, well, we're getting there. So what is the error? Headers. Oh yeah, okay. So it complains about the absence of a token, actually. Fair enough. That is not exactly a valid JavaScript. So let's just make it like this. That should be fine, right? Reload this and malformed authorization header. Okay, cool. So it does run the query, but the query is rejected because we don't have authorization. Interesting. So basically it closes off everything with authorization. GraphQL, in my opinion, doesn't solve any problems. Only creating them like n+1 queries for my is just unnecessary abstraction. I completely disagree. It is absolutely awesome, and it allows you to build your UI completely around queries without requiring to create any additional logic to manage the state. You can just offload the whole thing to the GraphQL client, basically. It is fantastic, and I also thought it was like, yeah, it doesn't seem that useful until I started building a very complex UI that has so basically it's a very fitting use case what we do right now. I mean, not in this stream, but you know, in my work. It's a very fitting use case for GraphQL because we have this graph data structure that is pretty complex, and the UI has to render some subsections from it. And while yes, we could probably do that with REST, but just saying that, okay, hey, I want to render this UI, and it basically directly ties one-to-one to this simple GraphQL query that would instead be like 5 or 6 REST requests, it's a lot easier, and it does save you a whole ton of complexity. But again, this is, you know, the huge caveat as usual is that it has to fit the use case. Obviously, if you're building something very simple, then it's, you know, it's totally fine to use. I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. That doesn't work out. It's obviously fine to use like REST or whatever. We're using MongoDB and MySQL and want to combine them in one GraphQL database. Haven't experience for testing in production. That should work perfectly fine. So like we are using only MongoDB for now, but we have different sources. So basically the GraphQL API combines MongoDB with a bunch of other sources that are either external or static, like JSON files, and that works amazingly well. Like this is one of those cases where GraphQL literally shines. Hey, are we? Oh yeah, right. Okay. So I actually don't want to run the query. How do I do that? How do I do that? So essentially, the problem now is that we are running this on the server, which means there is no local storage, which means that there is no token, right? Which is a bit of a problem. So I guess, no, I mean, okay, that's a next.js issue. But I guess we could, we probably could use a cookie or something. That sounds like a good idea, right? So let's see, next.js cookie. I just throw it into the cookie and see what will, if it there will work out. Nookies. Okay, that's a great name for a package. Does it have, wait a second, where's my next.js? There we go, cookies. Do you have something about cookies here? Preview mode, middleware, cookies. Oh, there's actually defaults to object contains cookies sent by request, but I guess you cannot actually set them. Okay, that's a bit annoying. But wouldn't the client have to send its own token on each request? Yes, the client is sending its own token on each request, but the problem is that we're trying to get the token from the window while the first render happens on the server. So effectively what we're seeing here is server trying to get the authorization token from window, which doesn't exist on server, right? And this is exactly what we have to figure out. Like the stupidest way would be to just throw that into the cookie. And this is collection of cookie helpers for next.js. SSR supports. That seems perfect. So let's try that, I guess. Yarn adds nookies. Okay, so this is import server sides. Okay, so we have to. Right. Okay, so how do I API only cookies? There we go. This is what I want. So we in a login, instead of just sending it back, I'm gonna send it back anyway because from client side it's gonna be easier to just use it. Oh, I can use imports here as well, right? Because this theoretically is precompiled by the next.js as well. Okay, so we import that, parse, set, destroy, and what we're gonna do is set cookie. So set cookie null from client value. So value is gonna be our token. It's gonna be Hasura token. What is this first null? So what is the parameters? Context. Okay, so we don't care about context, that's fine. Options, yeah, that seems to be okay. So theoretically, save token to cookies. Hey Sandeep, welcome to the stream. All right, so theoretically now once we log in, we should get that cookie, the token in the cookies, which means that here, okay, so that means that here, whoops, that is a wrong thing. Where's my... Okay, there we go. Right, but that won't work, so I would need... Oh, man, okay, that's annoying. How do I... Can we provide... Okay, so the next question would be, can we provide... So we can provide a context, right? Context fetch options, there we go. So I guess we can just do it here instead of doing it globally, because apparently globally won't work with server-side rendering. Right, and then here we can use that cookie package to grab it from there. So what was the example with good server-side props? Okay. So this is our... I mean, I could probably do this here, export defaults. Yep, that seems easier. Right, so we parse the cookies. We won't set anything, we won't destroy anything. Wait, where did you get the cookies from? Wait a second, how, what? Seems like this should return something, right? That doesn't look correct. So I'm parsing cookies, but I'm returning cookies that come from where exactly? Where? Get cookie. Yeah, so where does this... Okay, so you are assigning them, right? Okay, I'm not going crazy here. Good. Okay, so we do that, and then we return the cookies, and now we're gonna get the cookies here. Right? That means we can do cookies... Hasura token. Okay. I think that should do it. Yarn dev. We're going to restart that. Authentication is always a bit of a pain in the ass to set up. Maybe we should have skipped that, but I really wanted to see how it works with Hasura. So there is... Additional keys were returned from get server-side props. Properties intended for your component must be nested under props. Oh, okay. Yes, they've changed how the... structure works. Yes, there we go. Reload that. Oh my god, what is happening? What is going... Oh my god, what is going on here? No! Oh boy. Please stop. Okay, so what is going on? Failed 204, no content. Do we actually get the token here in a cookie? I am not exactly sure what's going on, but we got request headers. There is, okay, there's no cookie and there's no bearer as well. What the hell is going on here? Okay, I'm gonna close this just, you know, just so that it doesn't murder my server. Restart that, and what is happening? Okay. Every time I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do authorization. Then I start doing it, and it all comes sideways. Maximum update depth. Why is it called so many times? Okay, there's definitely something very wrong here. So look, okay, first of all, let me try to just remove that. I know that this will error out, right? If we save that, reload the page, this will tell us there's an error. Okay, so let's, there's an error, and then let's do JSON stringify cookies, right? So let's actually see if the cookies are empty for some reason. Oh, right, because I haven't logged in. God damn it. That is absolutely correct. I totally forgot that I have to log in again because my cookie is not set, right? Login. And they are still empty, but I think I should have the cookie set now, right? Token. Okay, which one is the right one? Let's log in again. Test@test.com 1 to 3. Login. It actually doesn't seem to set anything. Okay, so there is a problem with our login method. I wonder if this package is outdated. No, it is 2 days ago, so it should work fine, right? There's the client-only cookies. There's the, wait a second, there is parse cookies, set cookie, context. Does it have to be set in a context? Can you use it in API? I feel like it should be usable in API as well, right? Set context name value options. Can context be next.js context? So what if, wait a second, API routes, request. I wonder if the response is the context it wants. You want this to be the context? I'm just trying things out. I'm not sure if that's the right way of doing it. But let's see. No, goddammit. I'm forgetting that my login is on the root. Test@test.com 1 to 3 login. No, that's apparently not the right way of doing that. Let's see what the example on the code sandbox looks like. They're even like, is it usable in? No, I don't care about that. Please go away. So this is all using them in the pages. Maybe it's just not made for the API routes, which is a bit of a bummer. But then again, API routes should be. So we probably couldn't use a different thing in API routes, right? So this, again, this is doing the context thing. Document cookie. Da-da-da. So can I just say that response, wait a second. Can I just do this? Because I'm assuming, right, but that's not how it works. Okay, so first question number 1, what do they use for the middlewares? Because I don't remember, it's been quite a while since I've looked into the, so we got the API middlewares, cookies, yes, is an object, this is request. Custom config, this is not what we want. Connect, express middleware support. So we can use connect middleware. Function, run middleware, promise, blah, blah, blah. Run middleware, request, response course, response JSON. Okay, so it's connect compatible at least, which means we can say connect cookies node. Yes, we can use something like connect cookies. Yep, that looks good enough, I think. Let's try. I assume basically the nookies is only for the client side then. And then this thing should be usable in, but how the hell do I use that here? So wait a second, where's their example? So we got this course middleware, so we create it, okay. Okay. Import cookies from cookies connect cookies. Yes. Cookies middleware. We create a new middleware. Then we create this helper for run middleware over here. Okay. And then we do awaits request response cookies middleware. So that should inject the cookies middleware into it, right? And after that, we should be able to say res, what was the thing? Set cookie, I think. Cookie set, yep. We should be able to do this. Right, Hasura token. Theoretically, that should work. If that is really the case, we're going to find out in a second. Not holding my breath here, but hoping it will actually work. Okay. DDoS attacks demo. Well, you get close enough, you know. It's like, I guess it's something to do with URL just sending away. Oh, okay, right. That's my function is not async, is it? Yep. Okay. Try that again. There we go. So we set the cookie. Now the question is, why the hell is it not in the console log cookies reloads? It's empty. Okay, so it doesn't quite parse it out correctly, which is a bummer. Okay. Just do that. Context. Can I just get it myself from the request somehow? I guess probably some simple way of doing it, right? Okay, let's see. So we got, what's we using this get server side props thing. Data fetching. Get server side props. And there is oh, so the oh man. Okay, so I probably will get the correct thing if I do this. Hey SmartyBro, welcome to the stream. Alright, so it's just the documentation for that package is not exactly great. Now it works. There we go. We finally got to the point where we actually get the damn thing. Today we're looking at the Hasura and trying to figure out if it works or not and how to actually use it to make a very basic API with authentication and other stuff. Okay. No, that doesn't seem to be... Am I doing it wrong? So if I do that, this will error out because there's no token, right? Okay, but there is Hasura token. Okay. Now, Hasura, and there should be authorization bearer preview and user not found in type. Okay, so there's an error in my query because I screwed it up apparently. Where is... So we actually, it actually does work, but there is an error in my query. And what is the error in my query? I'm not exactly sure. Query user... See, how is it different from what I did here? Email ID password, right? That looks correct, right? I have too many windows open, so we no longer need any of that because we do run the query correctly. Field user not found in type query root. I guess you have to write it a different manner. Where's the there you go? There's API Explorer. So how does it send the query here? So query variables, that seems to be exactly how I did it, right? I am slightly confused right now. But, oh, is it because I'm using the admin key? Right, okay. So if I put the authorization header over here and say that bearer is that token that we have, so I can just grab it from here, right? This is our Jvt. Okay. I wonder why it loops, like goes into infinite loop when we... Right, okay. Set section, the field user not found in query root. Okay, so this is already a different problem, but it actually works as expected. Okay, so I got this user table. Now, how the hell do I query that? So authorization and access control. So now we Come on now. Now we actually authenticated and we got our JVT, so we can actually authenticate when we run the query. And let's see how do we actually authorize the user to access that table. So we got authorization access control. Hasura supports role-based authorization, which is kind of awesome. The fact that it just has it out of the box. Create permission rule for the profile table that each user can only view their own profile data. Okay, so you can even have a fine-grained rules saying, okay, there we have this thing, have permissions, and how do I do that again? Blah, 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 for example. So how do I do this? Is there a better explanation? Create permission rule on profile table on Hasura user equal x Hasura user ID. Okay, so this basically says, no, this is a role. Where do I create the rules here? Insert row, modify. This is editing. This is relationships. This is permissions. New role. User? Is that what you want me to do? Select. Oh, okay, there we go. So this is how you call it, user. And he can basically custom check ID is equal. Right, okay, I see. So can I extract that from token somehow? Interesting. So let's see. So we got this. We got the JVT part. So the thing is that we're now passing the token, right? Meaning that there should be a way to extract data from the token. At least I hope so. Or maybe not. Is that not expected? Yeah, you still expected to pass the user yourself? Is that the kind of the general thing? Interesting. So let's see. Do they give you access control example? Multiple roles promoted permission for the same role. Okay, so it seems like they expect you to do it yourself, essentially, to pass it in the header. So let's do that. Again, this means that we need additional things in the cookies, right? Tim, thank you for following. Timo, thank you for following. So we're gonna set another cookie. There's gonna be Hasura user, and that is gonna be our user email, right? There's gonna be two cookies. The first one is gonna be the token, and the second one is gonna be user. Which means that here we're gonna have const user cookies Hasura user, and yeah, okay, so it's gonna be additional header, and that header is gonna be what was it? X hell if I remember that. X Hasura user ID, right? X Hasura user email. Let's call it this way. And we are gonna compare it to email. Yes, please, equals X Hasura user email. Yes, there we go. Okay, allow user to input for all the columns. And can I do that for all columns? Here's the question. Column presets. Column ID, column email, column password. Oh, okay, so this is not what I want, I guess. Backend only, no allow from back. Oh, interesting. So you can even have different permission for your backend requests. Interesting. Their permission, all columns, safe. Right. So we now have a user who, so long as he matches the user with email, we should probably insert a user over here. So ID is default, please. Yes. Email is test@test.com and password is 103. Save. So if we browse the rouse, so theoretically if I run the user query now, but yes, we need to do this user and or empty. I guess this would be the better way. Right, so theoretically we should be able to query ourselves now, right? Oh my god, no. Why? What is happening? Oh god, 1,000 requests. Oh, what is going on? Okay. Oh yeah, right. I forgot that I don't have test@test.com 103. Nope, that still is broken as hell. Why is it broken as hell? It's still hammering. Stop recording, please. What is going on? So we do set authorization header correctly. We do set Hasura user email. Query looks correct. It is failed to load response data. So why is it failed? So basically, for some reason, it gets... Oh, it gets cancelled. And then it gets 204, which is no content. Options. Oh, it's a course issue. Right. God damn. It's a course. Yeah, of course, it's a course issue. How to set up a bot network. Yeah, I mean... That's... No, I mean, that's not really a botnet, but... Can I tell ORQL to... So there's a request part. Okay. Where's the ORQL documentation? I want to say that concepts, advanced retry operations, and I want to say that do not retry anything. Right, so you have to do this exchanges thing. But why does it retry it by default? That's the question. Theoretically, shouldn't even do that. Okay, you know what? For now, like, this is 100% related to the server-side rendering. I'm just not sure why exactly. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a stupid hack and just say client-side data. I'm gonna create this client-side data component that will do the fetching, right? And then basically here, what I'm gonna do is, right, okay, so this component should take in the cookies. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say that if we are going from the server side, we're gonna do rendering. We're just gonna say we're loading. And if it is client side, we're gonna do the client side data and then pass the cookies over here. Which means that this component will only render on client side and will skip the SSR, which is, you know, not perfect. But, come on now, where's my... You can check... Yeah, we can... I mean, dynamic import is one option. Yeah, probably there will be a better way of doing it. Let's do it properly, at least, you know, to some degree. Components, let's say users. Let's call it users.js because we are trying to load the users. And then that means that here we're going to get that. We are going to move all of this. Whoops, no. Going to move all of that here. Export default users, right? We got this stuff. And then here we are going to say users no SSR. Components users, right? SSR false. And then we got this users no SSR. And theoretically, so we don't need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. Theoretically, if I start this now, we should start seeing the correct results and hopefully no longer kill our Hasura backend by rerunning the same failing query. No, what the hell? Oh, I'm sorry, what? Oh, right, okay. That is what I want. Can't resolve components users. Am I doing this? Wait a second, what? Oh, because I misnamed it. There we go. Right, I probably should restart the building because now it should pick up the thing. Okay, are we good now? And no, it still does the thing. Okay, interesting. So this is not an SSR problem then? Huh. I wonder why this happens. If I comment this out, we correctly get an error. And we get the Hasura token, and we get the Hasura user over here as expected. So why is this? Why is this happening the way it's happening then? Okay, what if, here's the question. What if I just do this and then return? I'm just trying to debug it without knowing really why that happens. Because it does seem to set everything as expected, right? Okay, so that is definitely a problem with the fetch options. Is there like something missing here? No. So as soon as I pass in the fetch options in the context, it starts breaking, right? And if I remove them, it breaks. Oh, so it's the context, like the context that fell? That what's breaking it? Is anyone here familiar with ORCL to a good degree? Why is this happening? Okay. Well, let's go read the ORCL docs. So, various document caching, more concepts, core package, Benset, subscription, server-side rendering. Okay, they have even a full chapter on server-side rendering. Yeah, no, that's not what we want. Auto population, debugging, graph cache. Okay, this is the caching. API, ORCL core. We want, so this is the client. What we want is actually the use. We are using the use query, right? Use query. I guess this is not the core. There we go. This is probably React. Use query. Query variables, poll context, holds the contextual information for the query. Read about use query in the query pages. And variables, yes. So how do I request policies, re-executing queries, read more in API docs. Okay, that's not exactly that informative, but we can probably look in the GitHub. So what I'm interested, so I guess I assumed it works the same way that the client works, right? By just passing this context thing there, but let us see. So we got hooks, use query, and there's a use query test, which probably should be exactly what we want. So let's see, there is use query variables, pause. There are context examples somewhere here. No, they don't even have it in interesting. Back maybe? Okay, context URL. Okay. So they don't actually pass anything to context. Okay, let's see the source code. Context. Partial operation context. Right. So this is operation context, yes. So find query, execute query, and then it expands the context and then opts. Okay, so client execute query is what we want. GitHub, why are you not giving me? I know that this is a thing here. Okay, so we want the client package. I guess it's in the core somewhere, right? There we go. Execute query is what we want, right? Okay, query and then options. Options. So opts is create query, create request operation. Okay, I guess this is what we want. Where is it coming from? Okay, okay, this is our context. This opts. Okay, so this context by default is created from the opts. Oh boy, okay. Let's see. Operation suspense, partial suspense, context. I wonder if it's just the like it falsely overrides it or something. Is that the problem? Because it seems like it should work. Yeah, so it seems like if we provide the fetch options here, they should correctly override it, right? Whoops. Maybe in issues, fetch options. Problem with graph cache and next.js, React Native error. Passing context without memo to use query triggers infinite loop. That looks exactly like what we're experiencing. Oh, so it basically shouldn't really be deciding for whether or not you're... Oh, so this is the... Okay, now I got it. So basically the way URL works is as soon as your context changes, it reruns the query. But because we pass a new object every time, that means the context changes every time and our stuff is re-executed infinitely, right? So this all suddenly makes sense. So very easy to fix. What we need to do is we need to say that our context over here is a separate variable, which we're going to memorize and just say that, okay, this is a thing. Just going to be, whoops, no. It's going to be sitting here, right? Going to be created once, and we're just going to pass it there. And that means they're probably going to work just fine with SSR as well. Okay, that is a pretty tricky thing, but I assume... okay, so now we got this request, and there is no... What is going on now? Oh, god damn it. I forgot to kill that return. So I think now we should get... Build user node. Okay, there we go. So now it actually executes it, does not go into infinite execution. I think we should be able to just use it here without dynamic import now. Components, users, right? So we should be able to just say users. And that should work equally well on the backend and on the front end. Cool. So now we're coming to the Hasura part. So we need to figure out why, how do we actually run that query here so that it's working. Field user not found on type query root. I assume this is a pretty common error. Let me just search for Hasura, field type not found on query root. There we go. Yeah, I assume there's some really simple solution, but I just didn't. It's happening because of a wrong authorization getting forwarded to the second endpoint. Okay, so the authorization is wrong, but I thought this table here was public, right? It says public at least, and current Postgres schema. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe the table has permissions, user ins. Oh, right. So I am. Same as inserts. Yeah, there we go. So we can, right, it's probably just permissions missing, right? So there's our select permissions, and I think now it should start working. And x Hasura user email, I think it was, right? test@test.com. Whoops. I think that should start working. Header is execute expected but not found. Wait a second, what? But I just provided it. Yeah. X Hasura user. I just copied it, right? That looks correct. Oh, cool. That's a neat feature. Okay, here's the what do you mean it's not provided? There it is. I just gave it to you, right? Okay, I am slightly confused by this. So X Hasura user email. So am I passing the X Hasura user email? There you go. There it is. What are you not happy about? Right. Let me try to run this from here. Maybe that works. No. X Hasura user email header is expected but not found. But it's also X Hasura user email. Right. So it is provided, but it is header, right? It is request header. Now I'm very confused. Right, let's see. So we have this user table. We got the permissions. We got the select. Rule X Hasura user email. Same as insert. Okay, so I assume we have to modify this check. X Hasura user email. Yeah, so that's, I mean, that seems fine, right? Hasura. Okay, let's see. Hasura header not found. Even though it is found. JVT, blah, blah, blah. Payload. Oh, is it supposed to be part of JVT? I think your custom claims, Json, your Hasura DD set claims format. Oh, okay, so that confused me. So does it look for it in JVT? Is that what happens? So if I decode this JVT, right, so it's probably looking for this over here. Oh, okay, now I get it. Okay, so we don't need that. We actually need to regenerate the token and put that, okay. Right, so for now, right, I'm not actually setting anything here, which is just a bit silly, but there we go. Hasura user email is gonna be our user email. Means we don't actually have to set any of that, and then we just set the token, and the token is the only thing we actually have to use. Got it. Okay, it's starting to slowly make sense. Like, it's a pretty complex backend system, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So let me see. Application, kill that, relogin. So test at test.com 1 to 3. Jvt claim does not contain Hasura default role. I guess that was required, so I removed a bit too much here. Okay. No, wait a second, I didn't. Oh yeah, I did remove the default role. Okay. So let's go for the user. Default role user. Email is I cannot type. User email. Okay. I think that should do it, right? So kill that. Go back. Test at test.com 1 to 3. Login. And finally, there we go. Okay, that took a lot longer than I thought it would be, but we now know for a fact that it does protect everything unless you basically permit it. And this, oh yeah, because my token is now completely different, so this won't actually work. I copy the whole token and I paste it right here. It should start working too. There we go. Okay, that also means that if I create a second user, right? Insert row. Whoops, no defaults. Other mail com. Say 3 to 1. Save. So now if we browse out, we actually have 2 users. But I should be able to only see myself because I'm not permitted to see the other users. This is pretty great. Okay. I guess let's make something a bit more... Okay, first of all, let me just commit that before I forget and break something else there. No, node modules is what I want to ignore. And then I want to ignore .next. And I probably want to remove this no from here. Okay, cool. Yeah, that looks good. It's basic setup with Hasura auth and users query. Okay, sign the commits. Good. Right, so let us do something more. Okay, first of all, let's render the user correctly because right now it's just some bunch of JSON, which is not very nice. Let's just say data. What was the data format again? Wait a second. Get data user and then data user 0 and then email. Obviously not the best way to greet someone by email, but that's fine. Okay, sweet. Just considering this might not be there, we are gonna do that, and then I'm gonna say no. Hello, unknown. That's the stupidest thing ever, but whatever. Okay, so let's try to create like, okay, so I'm really curious. So far, like the GraphQL part seems to be really straightforward. It does the job well. What I want to try is I want to try to create something. It doesn't matter what, so like to-dos or whatever, and then see if we can separate it by the users so that we can actually get free access control by just, you know, tweaking some rules on the backend, which would be pretty cool. Like his video. I'm not sure what you mean, but my name is Warfake. Warfake? Okay then. Anyhow, let's do to-dos because it's an easiest thing to do essentially, right? So, all right, I should probably rename the no, I should probably rename this into the users queries. utop, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so let's do the to-dos thing. So we got the to-dos query. So it's going to be to-dos, and we're going to have text, and we're going to have completed. Right, so let's go and create the schema first, right? So we go to the tables, we add the table, we say it's to-dos. So this is going to be, so ID, we're going to have ID, we're going to have text. There's going to be type text. We're going to have completed, which is going to be type Boolean, and we're going to have, so how do you define relation? There you go, foreign keys. So we are going to reference the user ID to, okay, so you have to create ID here. There's going to be integer, and there's going to be user. I guess let's call it owner, right? We're going to reference this, I'm sorry, what? Remove, add foreign key, owner to, okay, ID, update violation on delete, restrict, no action. So what do this do? Action when the reference key is updated. No action. No, you know what? Restrict sounds fine. Okay, so this will automatically tie owner to user. Unique keys, we don't really need any. I mean, unique keys, the ID should be unique, right? So it's a unique auto-incremented thing. Say my name or fake. I mean, I don't mind, but you know, that's a bit of a weird thing to say. Okay, anyhow. So we got the table. We got the permissions. Okay, so we got the user role, which means that custom check owner equals x Hasura user ID. Okay, so now we need the ID. Right, so now we need that ID here if we want. How do you actually do the more complex checks? Can you? So this way we only can check by ID. Let me think. So one way would be to obviously, I mean, I guess there wouldn't be a problem if you have like a proper backend, right? Because then you will be getting your users from the database, so you will know the ID. And I guess checking by ID is a lot more consistent than using an email for that. So let's just go ahead and check the ID instead. Maybe I should rewrite the other stuff as well, but you know what, that's fine. Okay, save that. Did we call them presets? So, oh yeah, we don't need any presets in this case. I'm gonna copy this from there, toggle all. Okay, this is a bit like the fact that you have to go through that pre-update check. Oh, cool. So you can do pre-update checks. You can do post-update checks. We don't really need any post-update checks. And we don't toggle all. Delete, same check as the everything else. Okay, so theoretically this should now have permissions for people to modify stuff only if they are allowed to do that. Oh yeah, and actually insert, we don't need any permission checks because we should be able to insert new to-dos anyway, right? Okay, what is this thing? Select, oh, you can bulk. You can do stuff in bulk, that's nice. Hey Nitai, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. I'm Russian as well, by the way, if you didn't know, so that's that's the thing. Okay, so we set up the tables. Theoretically, we should now be able to do to-dos, and we should now be able to do text completed. I mean, I guess ID is nice to have as well. So an owner should. Why is owner not linked to? Yeah, okay, so we're not getting the user ID, which means we have to relog in here. And here, okay, so we would need two queries. The first one, okay, so one thing I'm confused about is why is owner not, so this should be linked to the user, right? Which means that I should be able to say that, hey, give me this as a user. So why is it not not doing that? Why is it not expanding the query? Am I doing something wrong? User has many to-dos. To-dos has one user. Yes, that looks untracked. Oh, okay. So I guess I have to do that. Right. Okay. And now if I say owner, I should be, no, still not that. Or is it the user? Okay. So that's the user key here. Cool. So you should be able to actually do that. Okay. Obviously this doesn't work for now, but the fact that this is that easy to do, like if you never set up GraphQL API, it's generally a bit annoying to actually do something like this. You know, like setting up foreign relations does take quite a bit of work, unless the framework does it for you. But doing that by pressing 2 buttons is pretty damn nice, to be honest. I'm thinking I probably can move this. No, I cannot move this because it depends on the cookies. And actually the cookies should be here, right? So it actually depends on the cookies and should refresh as soon as you get the new cookies. So this is, my ESLint is not telling me anything again. Anyhow, we got the to-dos query. We should get the data. Let's do the pre-JSON stringify data null2. And if we get to-dos here, and then we pass it cookies for authentication. Probably the easier way would be to set up the authentication using the, what do you call it, context, and pass the cookies around this way, but I'm just too lazy to do that, so I'm just gonna go with that. All right, so I'm gonna kill the token. We're gonna has.com relogin to get that ID in our claims parsing text failed. Expected string but encountered a number. Oh, it should be a string. Have I inserted the wrong thing here? Oh yeah, I have inserted a number, so that should actually be a string. Okay. Let us relog in once more. I think that should fix it basically. Test add test.com 1 2 3 login, and it works. So obviously we don't have any to-dos now, but that's perfectly fine. So we need to render the add to-do. Input type text. Okay, so it's going to have a ref, which is going to be called a to-do ref, for example. And I guess I'm going to do it somewhere here. Once to-do ref, use ref. Okay, and then we're going to have, so, okay, so now I need the mutation query, right? And now I need the mutation, use mutation from the URQL. URQL, and we need the documentation. We need the use mutation from here. Where are mutations? There we go. So we need that. By the way, this is another really, really cool thing about GraphQL, is that you don't have to care about changing stuff that much, because it basically does a lot of that for you. So text and then ID. Okay, the question is, how do they call, how does Hasura creates the queries for updating to-dos? So this is the query. Now I want mutation. Where's my mutation? Add new mutation. There we go. Oh, okay. So this is like, you can basically switch between them. Insert to-do. Okay. And then we are gonna say returning ID text completed, and then we're gonna say that ID, no, we have to pass the owner, and we have to pass the text, right? So this is what you want to say. Okay, cool. It even constructs the queries for you. This is like quite nice. So let's call it insert to do, or I guess create to do. Let's be consistent. Which means that in this case we're gonna say owner text. Yep, that looks good. Hey Warfake, welcome to the stream once again. So we got owner and we got $text. Right, that looks fine. Okay, and then we go to the URQL docs and have a look at this, right? So this is what we want. Update to do results. So I assume this is basically the same structure, maybe not. Let's call it create to do results, and this is gonna be create to do, and this is gonna be create to do query. Okay, so we do this, and then const execute create to do, use callback. So this is not gonna change at all. So to do text is gonna be to do ref current value. And then we're gonna run create to do, which I assume takes in the, where's the full example? Variables. Yeah, so it just takes in the variables, which means that we have to give it an owner. And we have to give it, oh no, we don't have to give it an owner. So how do I make it, like obviously we could give it an owner manually, which I guess is a thing you can do. But that is not what we want, right? Because typically, since the user already creates it, you actually want to auto assign that. Is that something Hasura allows you to do? So to-dos. Okay, can you manipulate the mutation query? So the thing is that here owner should be automatically assigned, right? There's a, is there, okay, Hasura current user. There should be some way to access that from the session, right? Current user subscription. Subscription is not something I care about, but where x Hasura blah blah blah. ID equal, this is permissions, ID not equal, not that. Like there's absolutely got to be a way, because this is such a common thing, that there is gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way to get that. I wonder if that's like a global Hasura GraphQL X user ID. Can you like get a, do you have access to this thing from the GraphQL query? Access control basics. Hasura role, Hasura ID, author name. Yeah, that's fine. I get that. Reference session variables. Okay. Trying to access control, role and session variables. User example. Okay, so this is crowd, blah blah blah. Dynamic session. User project. Modeling roles in Hasura. Or, okay, those are all like the access control rules. What I'm interested in doing that within the query. Paginating, sorting, free aggregation queries, query performance, authentication authorization, migrations and metadata. I don't really want to assign, like the thing is that if I assign this ID myself, I open up the way for other users to create to-dos for other users, which is not perfect, right? Again, obvious way is to put a server in the middle that would do this for me, but I have a feeling there should be a way of doing that. Anonymous role. No, that's not what we want. Using column presets with session variables. Claims, role, user ID. So where do I, so Hasura, GraphQL, claims. Do we have access to claims from GraphQL query? Roles for custom JVT claims. Namespace, callback. So you have those rules. Oh yeah, right. There was the actions as well, right? So we got the GraphQL, then there's some action. Can we create that as an action? Here's a question. So this custom types, okay. Use type query for query action, type mutation for mutation, define your actions here. Okay, let's see the actions. It sounds like this is exactly what we want. Creating actions. Maybe what are actions was a good starting point. So, action description, type, definition, handler, kind. type either query or mutation action. So in our case, it's going to be a mutation action exactly. And whoops, that is not what we want. Then type mutation. Okay, so you can actually extend, right? Type mutation. And we can say that we extend our, where's our insert to do's thing, right? That, where's the example again? Username string, user info. Okay, so we are going to extend this with owner. Yeah, so we extend this with, I guess we copy the full thing. Is that what you want me to do? And it returns to-dos. Expected name found. Is that what you want? No. Oh, right. Okay, I guess this is the signature for it, right? New type definitions. We don't need any of that. And oh, I guess I can wait a second. So we can define our own mutation, I guess, right? This is what it's telling me. And for instance, consider this definition. In definition extending mutation user login, username and password arguments, non-nullable strings, user info is the type. Read more about custom types. Handler, writing a handler, okay. Okay, extend type user login. Right, so we could have actually used that for authentication. That's pretty powerful. Configuring a header, blah, blah, blah. So how do I, wait a second. How do I tweak? Right, let's try to figure this out. So we actually, well, let's override it. And essentially what we want to do is we're just going to say there's a text, which is a string and it's required. And then there's going to return one to do. Thanks a lot for this. Well, you're welcome. It's actually quite fun to try and figure out what's going on. Okay, handler. Do I have to define? Oh, so the handler is a third-party function or whatever that is, and it can be synchronous or asynchronous. Okay, this is pretty complex. So essentially, if you want to do remote schema is not one event. Yeah, so essentially, if you want to create an action, you have to create a handler that is a third-party function, or I guess API endpoint, that will receive your stuff, do something with it, and send the response back. Which means it's literally a middleware, right? So it's the actions are essentially middleware. Okay, you know what? That's fine. We can provide the owner ourselves for now. Meaning that in this case, owner is... That means I will have to decode the... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put the res cookies set Hasura user. Put it this way, user ID. I'm gonna set the user ID to cookies because I don't want to decode the JVT on the client. That sounds like a pain in the ass. There are examples for validation that you can deploy in Glitch and test them. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of examples out there, but I just, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on this. We're already like almost 2 hours streaming this. I just want to finish this, check if that works, and then wrap this up basically. Great, but it actually seems really powerful. Like this, the idea with middleware is really cool. And click, we are gonna do create. Now we are gonna execute create to do is what we're gonna do. And I think that is it, right? So this should do what we want. Right, okay. What? I cannot use a wait. Oh yeah, we don't need a wait here because we don't actually care about the result. Right, I need... Oh yeah, use mutation is something I forgot to import. There we go. Okay. Test at test.com. I need to relog in so that I get the user here, user ID. Right, so I probably... that did send something in missing authorization header. What? Create to do text owner... Oh, right. Okay, of course. That should also include the context, right? How do I give it? I guess here, right? Query. Where do I give it a context? Or is it like here or something? Create to do context. There we go. That should do it. Probably should also style my inputs a bit because I cannot see them for the life of me. Right. Where is our login form? I'm just going to copy the classes from here. There's our to-dos. There's our index. And there is our button. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. So this works. Got the network. Clean this. Hello. Great. Preview errors. There is a variable owner ID of type ID is used in position expecting int. Okay, so that should be int actually. Right. Yeah, that's a fair point. We did use ints there. And yeah, that looks fine. We did provide the ints. Okay, so let's try this again. Test creates. Are we good now? We are still not good. Non-null violation, null value in a column completed violates. Okay, so it wants me to set the. Oh yeah, I can just edit it to include it by default, basically, right? So modify completed default false is what I want to say, right? Save. That should do it. And I think now if we create a new thing, very good. There we go. It's actually did it. So this created it. And if we reload the page, we should now get one to do. Okay, now there's the problem that we need to reload the query. Reload to-dos is what I want to say. Whoops. Which means that here, okay, there's got to be a sync now. Awaits, and then we just reload to-dos. Well, in theory, we actually want to set up the cache that would auto-update the to-dos list as soon as we insert this, so that we just update the local cache. But like, again, I'm not going to spend time on this now. Don't care about to-do result now. Just underscore that to show that it's not used. I think that's, oh yeah, we should probably render the to-dos in a nice way. Div class name flex column. And then we're gonna do data. So what was it? Data to-dos, I think. Yes. Data to-dos map to-do. So we're gonna map this into div key to-do ID. Okay. Why are you not happy about? You can set default owner ID in Hasura console. Can you? Okay, we're gonna have a look at that in a second. Let me just finish with that. I forgot this. Right, so we need to do what? There is text and completed, right? Yep. So to do text, and then we got this input type checkbox checked to do completed. Okay, there we go. That looks terrible, but it renders, and that's the most important thing right now. B2. Just some separation on bold. That looks good. Okay. In theory, if I do this now and click create, it doesn't actually reload the to-dos. I wonder why. What is insert to-do? So it did insert another to-do. And then it failed because provisional headers. Well, yeah, that seems to be correct. So why is it not re-rendering stuff? Okay, where's the URL documentation? Queries. Re-execute query. Okay. Request probably, oh, okay, it's probably hitting the cache is what happens, I'm guessing, even though I didn't really set up any cache, but let's see if that works. So reload that, we should be able to this, yeah, okay. One more, and there we go. Okay, cool, so that works as expected. Can actually kill this from here. So, Amis was saying that you can set owner ID in Hasura console. I probably have missed it then. So, owner, unique defaults. So can I, how do I, GraphQL field name, comment, nullable owner. Is that the default value is what I want basically? So let's see. No, that's not the button I wanted. Hasura, default user ID. Setting default, yeah, there we go. This I was just probably searching it in the wrong way. Setting default values for field using role-based column presets. Oh, this is where it comes. All right, I saw that thing when we were configuring it and completely forgot about that. So when the user inserts column preset, there we go. Owner, static, column value, from session variable, x Hasura, user ID. There we go. Thank you very much. That actually solves it, which means that we no longer need to pass this owner here, which is a lot better, right? And that means that we can kill this owner from here. We no longer need it. There we go. Save the permissions. That means if I reload and we create new one, it should, there you go. Amazing. This is awesome. Okay, cool. That actually works perfectly well. Well, I mean, I think that would be a good point to, okay, you know what? Another test. Let me add, so we had another user, right? In the database, because my half-assed authorization solution doesn't actually support reading users from database. I'm just going to copy it and throw it into our login function. I'm just going to test to see if I log in with that user, will we actually see the correct stuff basically, and you know, so that it doesn't overlap, considering I configured everything correctly. Okay, we do that. So we go here, we open new window. So other mail com, what was it? Other, what was the other mail com? Yes, 321 exactly. And it's empty. SD, JC. And if we go back here and reload, we still see on, this is really cool. Like, this is a really, really nice experience. Considering it has the middleware support in form of actions and the events, event triggers and stuff, you can do some crazy stuff with this. This is a really awesome framework. Okay, so I think that would be also a good point to wrap this up. Whoops, git status. While I am committing all of that, feel free to throw in your questions or suggestions or things you want to find out about into the chats. I'll just commit everything. Add basic to-dos, user-based to-dos creation. But yeah, that's actually been a very pleasant experience. Like a lot better than Prisma, for example, the one we tried last time. So yeah, digging that. I probably would use it for some of the future projects I would have. Again, considering, you know, I have enough time to dig around it, because it's not exactly super simple, but it seems like a really flexible thing. Okay. Readme MD. Okay, so simple to do app with user separate, I guess with access control, let's call it correctly, with Hasura. There we go. Crafting a simple to do app with Hasura, exploring Hasura. Yes, as you can see, I'm very lazy about typing all of that. Again, I already said it multiple times. I probably should create some sort of a template for that. Copy the link for the current YouTube stream. There we go. Okay. Simple to do app with access control using Hasura. Okay, so Hasura. Are the Rust streams coming? I'm not sure. I mean, if there's something cool that somebody points me to, or essentially I come up with myself, or there's something I want to try, then I would stream that. Otherwise, I don't really have anything at the moment that I would do, but yeah. Okay, so we got the README, we got all of that. Hopefully nothing too criminal in here. So relatively straightforward setup. Why is there Docker Compose updated? What is that just, wait a second. It adds, it commits, -m add basic README. Okay, but yeah, as I said, I'm really digging the Hasura so far, like a really nice framework. So com building, let's create the repo and push it, and yeah. Hasura just released a really good tutorial with next.js. Oh, cool. I need to check that out because, I mean, man, I'm really digging what I've seen so far. And it's like, hey, it's not a simple thing, but it seems very nice. And I definitely want to dig more and see, what you can do with that. And as I've said, if there's a fitting project, I would probably use it. On the contrary to, for example, Prisma, that I would probably not touch again at all. Whoops, that is a wrong dot in there. Okay, let's just double check that we have all the files in here. Docker Compose is indeed there. Right. That seems to be it from my side, actually. So let me just return everything to my normal zoom level so that I don't die later on. Okay. Stop that. And we are pretty good. Oh, God. And I just seen it. Oh, no, you cannot unsee that. Exploring Hasura. Yes, of course. That is exactly what it's called. Oh, my God. Now I need to double check the README. Oh, no, of course I did the typo more than once. No. Oh, no. Hasura. No? Okay, good. No more. Hasura, yes, Hasura, no more. Okay, good. Fix typo. Yes, of course. Typos is the bane of my existence. Every freaking time. Right. Doesn't seem like there's any more questions or suggestions, so thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you find something useful, maybe learn something. And yeah, oh, that's some new stuff in GitHub. Publish your first package. Oh, they now lead you to the npm. Interesting. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked because I just got into the feature previews here on GitHub, and they did this repository refresh and design update, and now they have this sidebar with releases and packages, which looks very nice. And I just haven't noticed it before, and I'm looking at it and just getting sidetracked. Anyhow. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you missed any of that, the VOD will be available immediately on both Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. You can just watch it there. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave the comments or join our Discord server and talk about it there. That's it from my side. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have an awesome rest of the weekend, or rest of... sorry, not the weekend. It's not the weekend yet. What am I saying? Rest of the week, and I see you on Saturday for BxJS Weekly Podcast. God damn it. I screwed up everything, all that I could. Okay, guys, have a nice evening, and I see you next time.